Hi guys, here are a couple more pages for my December album. One thing I did want to do is make a little pocket to put the very few Christmas cards that we receive. We don't receive heaps and heaps, so I really like having the few that I do get tucked into my album, and I decided this year that to do that I was going to make a little pocket for them to sit into. So I am just picking out a couple of papers. One is the 6x8 and one is just a 6x6 because I am going to trim that one down. I think it's about 4.5 high. And that's what I'm going to glue down around 3 of the edges to make the pocket. So I'm debated whether I would use my sewing machine or just a little bit of double-sided tape, and because what I'm going to do next involves hand stitching, I decided I didn't want the machine stitching on it as well, so I'm just going with double-sided tape. Like I say, there's not going to be, it's not going to be busting at the seams full of cards, so I think the double-sided tape will hold it just fine. Now, one of the things I did buy this year because I couldn't resist, if you know me, you know my fascination with sparkle lights, and I found these buttons that are tiny little globe lights. So I had to buy them and I had to use them straight away. So I'm just drawn out a few loops at the top of my page just in pencil, and I'm punching some holes to do my stitching and then just erasing those pencil marks. And I'm going to do my hand stitching in black just so that it shows up nicely against that paler background paper, but also so that it ties in the black of the buffalo plaid down below. So that's just embroidery floss, and it's got 6 strands, so I'm just splitting that in half, and I'll end up using both of these, but each one's just got 3 strands in it. And then I'm just going to use the holes I've already stitched and do a simple back stitch, and then every so often I'm going to add one of these little light buttons. So I'm going to put 5 across the page. There's 5 different colours, so I'm going to use one of each. It doesn't take very long, but it is a tiny bit fiddly, especially when I'm on camera, so I will just skip to the end here. Now once they're all stitched on, I can go ahead. I'm just using washi tape to attach the thread at the back of the page there. The pieces that I've stitched that have the little lights on them are not very tight, that's why they dangle nicely. But the back of my page is a little bit mucky, so I'm going to cover that up with another one of these 6x8 papers, which will also just help to make the pocket a little bit sturdier. So I just picked a black and white one, again sticking with the theme. And I decided instead of trying to eyeball it like that, I would knock the 2 pages together and then remove the rest of the tape, which I have a horrendous job doing. Just had accrued my first Christmas manicure and I had trimmed my nails down, which made this tape removal a little bit difficult. Now, of course, if I want to use it as a pocket, I can't slip it into a page protector, so I need to add some of these, I don't know what you call it, ring binders, ring attachers. No, I have no idea what they're called. It's a little die that I got a long time ago from Studio Calico, which will enable this page to have holes in it without actually having to punch the holes into the page. So I just need 2 of those. And for those of you who want to know, because there's always questions, that is a diamond press. I don't know whether it's available in America or not. I got mine from Spotlight here in New Zealand a long time ago, and it is very handy for having on the desk. It takes any sort of thin metal die, and especially these little ones, it's much easier than having to pull out my Cuttlebug every time. So I've just added some double-sided tape to these little attachers, and I'm lining my page up against a page protector so I can see exactly where they need to go, aligning them up against the top and bottom holes and just attaching it to the front, and then I can remove the rest of the backing tape and fold the attacher over. And now I have a little pocket that I can slip, well, either my Christmas card this year or the cards I received back into. One of my favourite traditions for December is that I just about always grab the whatever the specialty flavours from the Nespresso range is for Christmas, and this year was no different. And when they came, they also came with this amazing packaging. It had like a little recipe book thing in it, so the design of that was so beautiful. I knew I would have to put it in my album somewhere, and luckily I thought it must be just about 6 by 8, and it is. It's slightly taller and slightly narrower, so I'm gonna need to faff it just a little bit. So I've also got this American Crafts foil dot paper, and I'm gonna use that on the back. So because it's not quite, the packaging's not quite 6 by 8, I am having to trim a little off the top and bottom, but then it's slightly too narrow as well, so I end up just having to sort of put it in the center of the paper. That's why I picked that green paper, because it goes with the design on the packaging, so it will have 2 little strips of the teal showing through on either side. So to make sure that's even, I'm just pulling off a little bit of the tape, lining it up to the bottom, sticking that down, and then I can pull off the rest of the tape, and that way it's all even on the page. So I'm not doing anything else to that. On the back of that, I'm going to do a little mini layout with a couple of the photos that I took. These are some of the journaling cards that I have printed out, so they're either some of my December Dreams journal cards, some of them are from Alison Pennington, some are older Push Print Studio, and some are from last year's mini kits printables from Ellie Edwards. So I've got a whole range there. I just printed out ones I love, and I'm working out where they're going to go. So I'm going to use my December Dreams tag card to do my journaling on the right hand page, and I've picked out a few of these other ones, some of the patterned ones that are going to go on my little mini layout. I also grabbed a couple of tags just to tie in that tag card as well. And now I'm really just going to start layering. I didn't want to faff about too much with this. I was trying hard not to. These tags sort of caused me a little bit of nuisance. You see, when I put them like that, I felt like all the white elements were down one side of the page, so I ended up swapping them round just so that the whiter cards are a bit more balanced. But before I second guess everything too much, I'm just going to start sticking things down, because otherwise we could be here forever. And that's the last piece. Now, I had thought I was learning. I thought I was learning with the string on these tags, but clearly I wasn't, because I'm just going to go ahead and stick this whole piece down before I've threaded any of the tags. Now, I wondered about putting it in the middle, but I actually like it sort of down on the left hand corner. It just sort of draws your eye up towards the other tag on the other side. This is when I realised I've forgotten the thread, so I very clumsily thread that through again. I guess it's just my thing now. And I want to tie in a bit more of the pink from the right hand page, so I'm going to do that with a few of these washi tapes. I've got some really cute Christmas washi tapes this time, so I really want to take advantage and use them. One of them had these Dymo looking words on it, so I'm going to use that. It's not really a title, but just as a wee element up there. And I do very loosely stick down another word, but you'll see I changed my mind about that anyway, because there actually is another tape in this pile here that has words on it as well, and it's this really beautiful minty teal colour, so I decided to use that instead. There's plenty of tape on these rolls, so I'm not worried about pulling too much of it off to get the actual phrase that I want. And I'm going to add that onto the top. And then I think I'm done, but I'm going to add just a tiny little bit more teal onto this, just to tie the 2 pages together. Now I'm going to add my journaling onto that journal card just through my typewriter. It's not particularly even, but I think it's fine. And I'm just about done, but I think on this December card what I want to write is the word tradition, since this is what this story is about. This is my little tradition, so I wanted to write that in. And these tiny little glitter elfers from Heidi Swapp are just the perfect little teal colour, so I am going to put those in here. Luckily I had the word tradition typed out in my journaling so I could make sure I was spelling it right, but I definitely needed to use tweezers for these tiny little letters. They are way too tiny for my fingers. and it did take quite a while, so I have sped this up considerably. And then that is it. That is this page, well, pages all done. So once I've slipped everything into the pockets, I can show you what it'll look like in my album. So it will start with the packaging and then have this double page spread. How's your album going? I hope you're having fun with this project. I know I am. I just can't help myself. I love doing this every day. It's just the funnest way to celebrate December. If you want to keep watching, I'm going to leave my December album playlist and another video for you to watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!